For the last few years, I've had a mystical and magical entity in my daily life called Crichton. The experience is truly mind-blowing. This is me trying to tell that story. Jenny, welcome back to
Hi, Dan.
another fantastic chapter of this
Yeah,
trippy story.
yeah.
I think about these conversations, I was sort of after these conversations, and I still, I don't know, I'm just really thankful to basically get it out there. Some of this stuff you could never make up if you tried.
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating.
So, speaking of couldn't make up if you tried, tonight I really want to take you into some of the nighttime, creepy, intense stuff going on.
Mm.
Um, I will, full confessions is I do drink often at night because I don't want to necessarily fall asleep sober to some of these experiences, because they can get really, really intense. And so, yeah, obviously keep an eye on that. But yeah, if I'm doing a sober, a lengthy journey, things can intensify quite dramatically. And if I'm doing a sober journey, I'll probably having a most intensely trippy night every 3 nights or so.
All
Um,
night?
until I fall asleep, and then it'll probably kick back in about, I don't know, 2 to 4 in the morning as well.
Really? Yeah.
And so I'll hear a creak or I'll feel like an energy in the room and I know things are about to get going again.
Mm.
But again, lean into the scary side of this, like I have. Um, and yeah, I've definitely gone through a couple of my journals to try and pull out some just a good stories. So I'm just thinking I probably should time this so I don't go over time. So yeah, I picked out a couple of good ones just to kind of a bit of an overview, and then we can kind of change topics a little bit. I've got a good segue from there. And yeah, let's get it going. So some really generic stuff. In the early days, our hands pushing through the mattress, on my legs, on my back, on my neck, almost like giving me a massage. Like that's the only way to describe it. I
Mm.
remember in one of these occasions, I was feeling quite anxious from things that were, so I was trying to switch off and I couldn't switch off because of energy coming in and I couldn't sleep, or sober on this particular night. And, and because I couldn't switch off, the massaging started and it just put me so at ease to a point where I just lean into it and just I fall asleep whilst being massaged. But another kind of trippy example around that is cushions expanding. I mean, I've had hands coming through the lounge before when I've been in like a daytime session, but one that's happened in a few locations is almost like the pillow wrapping around my head as I'm trying to sleep, and I can
Mm.
feel this physical pillow wrap around my head. And again, you just have to lean into it and know that this has never hurt me.
Mm.
And so yeah, it's all love and light. And so one story I flagged is a night where there were physical manifestations going on, which I can talk more in depth about. I fell asleep. I fell asleep, and then I accidentally rolled onto a physical manifestation of Crichton, and it kind of scattered away. Like if it manifests physically, it's like a small being that I've rolled on a couple of times, and it's actually fallen asleep in between my legs a few times as well, almost like a pet dog or something is lying there. I'm sorry, Crichton, if that's offensive anyway. But anyway, so I actually rolled on to Crichton, fine. I fell back asleep, and then I kind of woke up to it, the entity working on my right ankle. And there was a lot of stuff going on, and that was fine. And then in a split seconds, all the light I've ever known, there's no way to describe it, were just expanded out to an infinity, and then just came back in to a single point on my ankle, and it felt like a snowflake. And and there's a couple of stories here involving snowflakes, or what I call snowflakes. And that's what it feels like. But again, in just a split second, all of the light I've ever known, eyes closed, expanded out, and then came back to a single point on my ankle, the inside of my ankle, as a snowflake. Um, Another snowflake reference. A few days later, a sensation lands on the base of my neck, and almost like a hammer or boom, intense full body wave of vibrations. And I felt like I was levitating, and I kind of made that joke. But I was like, so am I levitating now? Like, I kind of made that joke in my head as I'm like, and then I felt my body land back on the bed. So, so I want to highlight that is because I got a message from my mother the next morning, um, advising me of a dream in which she just had that night, where she was filled with the Holy Spirit, speaking in tongues, and she was trying to levitate. So that happened the very next morning. So evidently whatever was in me, what can be assumed, was I'm sharing the experience with her. I'm sorry I'm speaking so fast on these. Were it spoken to me before? In fact, when it told me that it was Crichton, that started with a voice in the center of my brain. That's kind of how it was, but it started with like piercing high frequency tones fading in and out. And then as I'm focusing on these tones fading in and out, it turned into a voice, and that's when it said, "My name is Crichton." To which I repeated, "Crichton," and it said, "Yes, Crichton." Now, I've never told this next bit of that same story before. 21. Then it said in the same voice as Crichton, "I have to kiss your neck now." And then intense sucking of the base of my neck happens. So I'm kind of up here a little bit, kind of seated up, energy. And so as soon as this intense sucking happens, an intense energy just went a euphoric release. Like it's like energetically, I just expanded, and I was just in this state of frequency. So this entity introduced itself, and then asked to basically advise that I was going to suck my neck, and then whatever happened next is
That's
out of
weird.
the world.
And what did the voice sound like? Was it like young, old,
It was a
dark, I mean,
it was a
deep?
croaky voice. So again, I started with these high pitch frequencies, and there's been a few times where there's been some rhythm of frequency or a pitch that I'm focusing on, and that's turned into sort of communication or something else. But yeah, the only way I can describe it is, "My name is Crichton," and then I have to suck your neck now. No, sorry, I have to kiss your neck now, and then intense sucking. And so
That was
yeah,
outside. That was noise, outside your ears. It wasn't a mental, internal thing.
um,
You could hear it with your ears, more or less.
it's inside and then out.
Ah,
It's like it manifested in, and all of a sudden I could hear it from out, but it was coming from in, but I was hearing it from out. Does that make sense?
well, I'm hearing what you said, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it.
Okay.
I can feel Christ in the room sometimes, almost like checking to see if I'm sleeping. One night, as I'm kind of lying on my back, Crichton curled up on my chest. I could feel the heat and the weight, like literally, like curled up on my chest as I'm sleeping. And then, actually, just before then, there was a crazy wind noise in the room. And then all of a sudden, Crichton I could feel come on the bed and then curl up on my chest, and then and then we both fell asleep. Basically, I got zenned out completely at that point, and we both fell asleep, and it just looked like it became my chest.
Mm.
Um, um, I'm not going to much dream stories today, because there's quite a few dreams that I think could be captured in this. But now I want to kind of oh yeah, we'll finish with this one, and then we'll go to that segment, that kind of tangent. On the 26th of October 2023, an image of a dark figure was in my room, and then the words, "I've answered your prayers," in a deep voice. So dark figure, room, corner, words audibly, "I have answered your prayers," in like a deep, deep
A
voice.
different voice to the croaky one.
Yeah, completely. Yep, yep.
But same person, same entity, same energy.
I would have to assume. I've seen Crichton in dreams in different forms. And yeah, but yeah, like I said, I'd only assume like there was no there was no harm in it, there anything. It actually could be linked to a dream, which I'm going to tell at another time as well, because that's got some layering and some detail. But for the segue, I want to share this story. Is one time almost like being electrocuted in bed, like a back arched, blah blah. And there's some really intense stuff going on behind me, overlooking me, almost like I'm being like held up, and some really intense stuff. I had very little control in this environment. So the only thing that I could really think to do is kind of blow a kiss, kind of as I'm like that. And then all the energy in the room changed, and almost like a smile, it was like down upon me. And so that's been a really interesting theme over the years of if I'm in a scary state, I'd blow a kiss. But even Crichton has like replicated that back in dreams to basically calm me. I've had a kiss on my forehead a few times if things are becoming intense. And so it's almost become like a thing. So I share that story to say to anyone out there, lean in. Like once you lean in, you take all power back, no matter what's going on, and just lean into it. Even if it's scary, even if it's impossible, even if it's whatever, lean in energetically because you've always got the power.
That's very good advice.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because it's got me through. You know what I mean? And so let's kind of change gears a little bit into the concept of leaning in. I've got on my notes here, and finally I prepared notes for the day. And so, yeah, in front of me, I've got the word scratch on neck story. So this happened about 2 months ago, not even that. And I was doing meditation on the lounge, fine. And the visuals, which is a whole other chapter in these as well. The things going on, things going on. And in a darkened room, there was a darkened figure. There's a theme here, maybe. So in meditation, things going on. A dark figure appeared here as I'm facing this way. I knew it wasn't meant to be there. So it wasn't just like something I saw, wasn't a passing, because I see lots of faces, lots of entities, lots of things in sessions. And so I saw this flash of a figure here. Then it came almost 2 meters closer here, and then went away. I'm just trying to think a timeline here. And then, sorry, just before that, so I'm in session. I feel this almost like a push in the back of my back to chest, like energy being pushed through my body. Now, normally something like this would mean I'm about to have a euphoric buzzing moment, like that's. But this is almost like this was harder. This was like almost like, and so I went, oh, anyway, and just letting it go, just whatever that was. And then I was kind of a little bit perplexed because there wasn't like the buzzing high out of it like most of the time. And so I was thinking about that a little bit. And that's when the figure arrived. I came about 2 meters closer and then disappeared. Then I finished the session, fine. I got up then and I'm in the library there behind me, and I start to feel almost like a heated something on my neck. Sorry, this side. And so I'm like, what is that? And so I look in the mirror and there was a scratch. And I'm like, what? Hang on. Is that? And it felt like a typical being scratched by an entity scratch, like a very, very hot, almost burning line. And I looked back in the mirror again about 10, 15 minutes later because I'm like keeping an eye on it. And there was another one basically overlinking it. And then I'm like, okay, well that's not good. But it's just a story about taking it in stride, I guess. So I'm just like, oh. I was more curious, like,
That's
bastard, you
amazing.
scratched
Yeah.
me. And I was like, hang on, that energy just surged through me. So maybe that was, this is just me thinking outside the box.
Mm,
Maybe that was protecting me from like whatever this entity was. Like it was
mm,
basically going piss off. And it's like, okay, well, that makes sense. But then I go out to one of my local bars because I live alone and I wanted to, someone that I know, to take a photo of it. And within these 7 minutes it took me to walk down to the shops here, they took a photo of it and there were two more scratches.
mm,
And the original scratches almost looked like they were burnt into my skin. And in
mm,
fact, I believe that they're still there today, the two original ones.
mm,
Um, so I will actually share um, this photo in the editing. But yeah, so that was a really interesting story. But instead of that panicking moment of there's a case of
mm,
just going, you little bastard.
mm,
So I knew like what I had to do to basically come home and cleanse my house. Um, and yeah, that happened quite recently. And the
mm,
last one I'll leave with is back on the beautiful line of kind of questioning, and it's happened probably the last 3-ish months,
mm,
mainly from listening to chanting and meditation, and that's like so I'll be on my back, my hands on the hips, face down, going through the motions. And then something in the lounge will happen, like a bit of a click in the lounge, and all of a sudden I'm floating. So all the weight goes away, and I'm just like basically tilting back and forth in my energy. We're just floating. Really, nothing is happening in the visuals here.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it's yeah, like sometimes more intense than others. So I'm just
mm,
like almost like tilting, like I'm going to fall over.
mm,
And so yeah, that's been happening lately, which has been really
mm,
a new and interesting. I think similar things have happened in the past, but not as consistently like they're happening now.
mm,
So in meditation, all the weight goes away, and you're just floating there now, and just basically your entire body's like tilting back and forth
mm.
um, in a weightless environment.
Yeah.
I think that's all we have time for, Jenny.
Yeah, for sure.
Any questions with those?
Um, do you feel Crichton in the room with you now?
Um, yes, but also as well, my third eye and crown chakra is kicked in. So,
Mm,
so I do have to separate, or try and separate. Just because I'm feeling this doesn't mean Crichton's here. Um,
mm,
but yeah, so yes and no. Like I
mm,
can't pinpoint at a spot in the room and go, are you standing over there?
mm.
But yeah, it's more of a awareness thing and a energetic heightened thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, yeah. All right. Thanks again for your
My
time,
pleasure.
and we'll lock it in for next week, and then and
Yeah,
I'll
do
get better
another
at editing. I
episode.
promise.
What'd you say?
I'll get better at it at the editing side of things. I promise.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a big
Okay.
learning
Well,
curve.
yeah, take care.
I'm coming along. You too. Talk soon.
Yeah.